Act III of Pippa Passes by Robert Browning. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act III, Evening. Inside the turret, Luigi and his mother entering.
If there blew wind, you'd hear a long sigh, easing the utmost heaviness of music's heart.
Here, in the archway?
Oh no, no, in farther, where the echo is made, on the ridge.
Here surely, then? How plain the tap of my heel as I leaped up! Hark! Lucius Junius! The very ghost of a voice, whose body is caught and kept by... What are those? Mere withered wallflowers waving overhead? They seem an elvish group with thin bleached hair, who lean out of their topmost fortress, looking and listening, mountain men, to what we say, hands under chin of each grave earthy face. Up and show faces, all of you! All of you! That's the king's dwarf with the scarlet comb. Now hark! Come down and meet your fate! Hark! Meet your fate!
Let him not meet it, my Luigi. Do not go to his city. Putting crime aside, half of these ills of Italy are feigned. Your pellicos and writers for effect, write for effect.
Hush! Say A writes and B.
These A's and B's write for effect, I say. Then evil is in its nature loud, while good is silent. You hear each petty injury, none of his daily virtues. He is old, quiet, and kind, and densely stupid. Why do A and B not kill him themselves?
They teach others to kill him, me, and if I fail, others to succeed. Now, if A tried and failed, I could not teach that. Mine's the lesser task. Mother, they visit night by night.
You, Luigi? Ah, will you let me tell you what you are?
Why not? Oh, the one thing you fear to hint. You may assure yourself I say and say ever to myself, at times, nay, even as now we sit, I think my mind is touched, suspect all is not sound. But is not knowing that what constitutes one sane or otherwise? I know I am thus, so all is right again. I laugh at myself as through the town I walk, and see men merry as if no Italy were suffering. Then I ponder, I am rich, young, healthy, why should this fact trouble me? More than it troubles these, but it does trouble me. No, trouble's a bad word, for as I walk, there's springing and melody and giddiness, and old quaint turns and passages of my youth, dreams long forgotten, little in themselves, return to me. Whatever may amuse me, and earth seems in a truce with me, and heaven accords with me, all things suspend their strife, the very cicalas laugh, there goes he, and there, feast him, the time is short, he is on his way for the world's sake, feast him this once, our friend. And in return for all this, I can trip cheerfully up the scaffold steps. I go this evening, mother.
But mistrust yourself, mistrust the judgment you pronounce on him.
Oh, there I am sure that I am right.
Mistrust your judgment, then, of the mere means of this wild enterprise. Say you are right. How should one in your state e'er bring to pass what would require a cool head, a cold heart, and a calm hand? You never will escape.
Escape? To even wish that would spoil all. The dying is best part of it. Too much have I enjoyed these 15 years of mine, to leave myself excuse for longer life. Was not life pressed down, running o'er with joy, that I might finish with it ere my fellows, who sparelier feasted, make a longer stay? I was put at the board head, helped to all at first, I rise up, happy and content. God must be glad one loves his world so much. I can give news of earth to all the dead who ask me. Last year's sunsets and great stars, that had a right to come first and see ebb the crimson wave that drifts the sun away, those crescent moons with notched and burning rims, that strengthened into sharp fire, and there stood impatient of the azure, and that day in March a double rainbow stopped the storm. May's warm, slow, yellow, moonlit summer nights, gone are they, but I have them in my soul.
He will not go.
You smile at me. 'Tis true, voluptuousness, grotesqueness, ghastliness, environ my devotedness as quaintly as round about some antique altar wreathe the rose festoons, goats' horns, and oxen's skulls.
See now, you reach the city, you must cross his threshold. How?
Oh, that's if we conspired. Then would come pains in plenty, as you guess. But guess not how the qualities required for such an office, qualities I have, would little stead me otherwise employed, yet prove of rarest merit here only. Every one knows for what his excellence will serve, but no one ever will consider for what his worst defect might serve. And yet have you not seen me range our coppice yonder in search of a distorted ash? It happens the rye's spoiled branches a natural perfect bow. Fancy the thrice sage, thrice precautioned man arriving at the palace on my errand. No, no. I have a handsome dress packed up, white satin here to set off my black hair. In I shall march, for you may watch your life out behind thick walls, make friends there to betray you. More than one man spoils everything. March straight, only no clumsy knife to fumble for. Take the great gate, and walk, not saunter, on through guards and guards. I have rehearsed it all inside the turret here 100 times. Don't ask the way of whom you meet, observe, but where they cluster thickliest is the door of doors. They'll let you pass, they'll never blab each to the other. He knows not the favourite whence he is bound, and what's his business now. Walk in, straight up to him, you have no knife. Be prompt. How should he scream? Then out with you, Italy, Italy, my Italy! You're free, you're free! Oh, mother, I could dream they got about me. Andrea from his exile, Pierre from his dungeon, Gautier from his grave.
Well, you shall go. Yet seems this patriotism the easiest virtue for a selfish man to acquire. He loves himself, and next the world, if he must love beyond, but not between, as a short-sighted man sees not midway his body and the sun above. But you are my adored Luigi, ever obedient to my least wish, and running with love. I could not call you cruel or unkind. Once more, your ground for killing him, then go.
Now do you ask me, or make sport of me? How first the Austrians got these provinces? If that is all, I'll satisfy you soon. Never by conquest, but by cunning, for that treaty whereby...
Well?
Sure he's arrived, the telltale cuckoo, Spring's his confidant, and he lets out her April purposes. Or better go at once to modern times. He has... They have... In fact, I understand, but can't restate the matter. That's my boast. Others could reason it out to you, and prove things they have made me feel.
Why go tonight? Morns for adventure. Jupiter is now a morning star. I cannot hear you, Luigi.
I am the bright and morning star, God saith, and to such an one I give the morning star. The gift of the morning star. Have I God's gift of the morning star?
Chiara will love to see that Jupiter and evening star next June.
True, mother, well for those who live through June. Great noontides, thunderstorms, all glaring pomps which triumph at the heels of sovereign June, leading his glorious revel through our world. Yes, Chiara will be here?
In June, remember? Yourself appointed that month for her coming.
Was that low noise the echo?
The night wind. She must be grown, with her blue eyes upturned as if life were one long and sweet surprise. In June she comes.
We were to see together the Titian at Treviso. There, again!
From without is heard the voice of Pippa, singing.
A king lived long ago, in the morning of the world, when earth was nigher heaven than now. And the king's locks curled, disparting o'er a forehead full as a milk-white space, twixt horn and horn of some sacrificial bull, only calm as a babe new-born. For he was got to a sleepy mood, so safe from all decrepitude, from age with his bane so sure gone by. The gods so loved him while he dreamed, that having lived thus long there seemed no need the king should ever die.
No need that sort of king should ever die.
From without.
Among the rocks his city was, before his palace in the sun he sat to see his people pass, and judge them every one from its threshold of smooth stone. They hailed him many a valley thief, caught in the sheep pens, robber chief, swarthy and shameless, beggar, cheat, spy, prowler, or rough pirate found on the sea sand left aground, and sometimes clung about his feet with bleeding lip and burning cheek, a woman bitterest wrong to speak of, one with sullen thick-set brows. And sometimes from the prison house the angry priests a pale wretch brought, who through some chink had pushed and pressed on knees and elbows, belly and breast, worm-like into the temple, caught at last there by the very god, who ever in the darkness strode, backward and forward keeping watch o'er his brazen bowls, such rogues to catch. And these all and every one the king judged sitting in the sun.
That king should still judge sitting in the sun.
From without.
His counsellors on left and right looked anxious up, but no surprise disturbed the king's old smiling eyes, where the very blue had turned to white. 'Tis said a python scared one day the breathless city, till he came with forky tongue and eyes on flame, where the old king sat to judge all way. But when he saw the sweepy hair, girt with a crown of berries rare, which the god will hardly give to wear, to the maiden who singeth, dancing bare in the altar smoke, by the pine torch lights at his wondrous forest rites. Beholding this, he did not dare approach that threshold in the sun, assault the old king smiling there. Such grace had kings when the world begun.
Pippa passes.
And such grace have they, now that the world ends. The python in the city, on the throne, and brave men God would crown for slaying him, lurk in by-corners, lest they fall his prey. Are crowns yet to be won in this late trial, which weakness makes me hesitate to reach? 'Tis God's voice calls, how could I stay? Farewell!
Talk by the way while Pippa is passing from the turret to the bishop's brother's house, close to the Duomo San Maria. Poor girls sitting on the steps.
There goes a swallow to Venice, the stout seafarer. Seeing those birds fly makes one wish for wings. Let us all wish. You, wish first.
I, this sunset to finish.
That old somebody I know, gayer and older than my grandfather, to give me the same treat he gave me last week, feeding me on his knee with fig-peckers, lampreys, and red braganza wine, and mumbling the while some folly about how well I fare, to be let eat my supper quietly, since had he not himself been late this morning, detained at never mind where, had he not baggage, had I not
How she can lie!
look there, by the nails,
What makes your fingers red?
dipping them into the wine to write bad words with, on the bright table. How he laughed!
My turn. Spring's come, and summer's coming. I would wear a long loose gown, down to the feet and hands, with plaits here, close about the throat, all day, and all night lie, the cool long nights, in bed, and have no milk to drink, apples to eat, douzans and junetings, leather coats. Ah, I should say, this is away in the fields, miles.
Say at once you'd be at home. She'd always be at home. Now comes the story of the farm among the cherry orchards, and how April snowed white blossoms on her as she ran. Why, fool, they've rubbed out the chalk mark of how tall you were, twisted your starling's neck, broken his cage, made a dunghill of your garden.
They destroy my garden since I left them? Well, perhaps. I would have done so, so I hope they have. A fig tree curled out of our cottage wall. They called it mine, I have forgotten why. It must have been their long year I was born. Crick, crick. I think I hear the wasps overhead, cricking the papers strung to flutter there and keep off birds in fruit time. Coarse long papers. And the wasps eat them, prick them through and through.
How her mouth twitches! Where was I? Before she broke in with her wishes and long gowns and wasps? Would I be such a fool? Oh, here. This is my way. I answer every one who asks me why I make so much of him. If you say you love him, straight he'll not be gulled. He that seduced me when I was a girl thus high had eyes like yours, or hair like yours, brown, red, white, as the case may be. That pleases. See how that beetle burnishes in the path? There sparkles he along the dust, and there your journey to that maze, tough, spoilt at least.
When I was young, they said if you killed one of those sunshiny beetles, that his friend up there would shine no more that day nor next.
When you were young? Nor are you young, that's true. How your plump arms that were have dropped away. Why, I can span them. Seco beats you still? No matter, so you keep your curious hair. I wish they'd find a way to dye our hair your color, any lighter tint indeed than black. The men say they are sick of black, black eyes, black hair.
Sick of yours, like enough. Do you pretend you ever tasted lampreys and ortolans? Giovita of the palace engaged, but there's no trusting him, to slice me polenta with a knife that has cut up an ortolan.
Why there, is that not Pippa we are to talk to under the window, quick, where the lights are?
No, or she would sing, for the intendant said,
Oh, you sing first. Then, if she listens and comes close, I'll tell you. Sing that song the young English noble made, who took you for the purest of the pure and meant to leave the world for you.
What fun!
You'll love me yet, and I can tarry your love's protracted growing. June reared that bunch of flowers you carry from seeds of April's sowing. I plant a heartful now, some seed at least is sure to strike and yield. What you'll not pluck indeed, not love, but maybe like. You'll look at least on love's remains, a grave's one violet. Your look that pays 1,000 pains. What's death? You'll love me yet.
To Pippa, who approaches.
Oh, you may come closer. We shall not eat you. Why, you seem the very person that the great, rich, handsome Englishman has fallen so violently in love with. I'll tell you all about it.
End of Act 3.